Hey everyone, this is Dylan with musicianonamission.com, here today to talk to you about vocal booths. What are they? Why do we even need them? We're going to cover all of that today, as well as going over our own design for a vocal booth that you can make at home for under a quarter of the price of a regular professional vocal booth that you'd have to buy out on the internet. Before we get started though, make sure to grab the blueprints for this design down in the description below. And we're also giving away a free size calculator so that you can make sure your vocal booth is the exact specifications of whatever setup you have. Let's get into it. So why do you need a vocal booth? Well, the vocals need to be the most upfront part of your mix. They need to be right here, right in the listener's face. And that's because, the melody is the thing that people listen to the most, and so it needs to really feel like it's hitting them in the gut. And that's especially true for genres like pop or rap or something with a lot of production value in the mix. So when you record vocals, what usually happens is when you're recording in a room like this, the microphone picks up all of the room reverb and all of the little flutter delays and flutter echoes that happen in your room and puts that inside of the recording. And you may not honestly hear it at first. You might listen to your vocals and you might say like, oh, that sounds pretty good, that sounds pretty dry. But once you begin to compress your vocals to make them sound more and more professional, more and more radio ready, the more you're going to hear that room sound. And when you can't get rid of that room sound, you can't get your vocals as upfront as they need to be. So what people have done is they've created these things called vocal booths. That's why you're here. And what they do is they soak up all of the sound around you so that you're not necessarily really hearing any of the room sound. It's just dry and it's clear, and it allows your vocals to be right there, right in front of the mix, right in the listener's face. Most professional vocals are recorded with a vocal booth, but most professional vocal booths cost a fortune. They're really expensive. I mean, the cheap ones are like $800, but they can get all the way up until about a couple $1,000. And if you're starting your home studio or you're just started doing, voice acting work or anything like that, don't blow your money on like a really, really expensive voice booth. You're gonna need that money to spend on other things. And also, you shouldn't spend a ton of money until you're good at what you do anyway. So we are going to cover today several different designs of vocal booths that you can make in your own home for cheap. And we're also going to go step by step talking about my favorite vocal booth design, the one that I use in my own recordings. Now, the first design that you can make at home for a vocal booth is the classic. It's the closet. Everyone tells you to use the closet whenever you're trying to record dry vocals. They say it's cheap, and by cheap I mean it's free. It's literally right there. You can just walk in, you can record it, it's dry, there's clothes in there, that soaks up enough stuff. Wrong. Don't use a closet. Avoid using a closet. If you hear anything from this video, don't use a closet. The reason that closets are problematic is because whenever you're recording vocals, you're recording them in a room like this, it's a decently sized room, so you're gonna be getting a lot of reverb, as I was talking about before. But it sounds like you're singing in a room that someone would sing in. Whereas whenever you go into a closet, the clothes are not actually going to absorb enough of the frequencies for you to get a dry vocal. It's just gonna sound like you're singing in an extremely small room, which is not realistic at all. It's problematic, especially once you compress the vocal and you bring the room sound up, you bring all the flutter echoes up. It does help a little bit, but it's going to make your vocals sound unnatural rather than just sound upfront and professional. So I wouldn't recommend it, especially because there's a lot of other alternatives that you can make that are much, much better for your vocals. Now, the next design for a vocal booth that you can make at home is the mattress vocal booth. And that is exactly what it sounds like. I mean, you are surrounding yourself with mattresses, like the mattresses that you would sleep on. If you have 2 mattresses, you'd put 2 behind your head in a V shape. If you had 3 mattresses, you'd put them in a C shape behind you. If you had 4 mattresses, which is what I would recommend if you wanted to do this, is you'd put it in a C shape behind you, and then you'd put one on top to get all of the ceiling reflections. Now, there's some good things and some bad things about this particular design. The good things is that mattresses are really, really thick, which means that you're going to be getting a lot of absorption of frequencies from the room. So your vocal is going to sound a little bit closer to those professional vocal booths. The issue is that mattresses are huge. They're really difficult to store, they're kind of difficult to find, they're hard to put up, they're really heavy. So if you don't have a place to store 4 mattresses, and you don't have 2 people to help you set all of them up because they're going to be heavy, then it might not be the best thing for you to do. If you do want to go for it, make sure that you are getting much thicker mattresses than thinner ones. Don't get ones that are just spring, because that's just fabric and metal. That's not going to absorb anything. You want to get stuff like memory foam, stuff that's really, really thick. The rule is that the heavier the mattress, the more it should help with your vocal booth. The cost of this can go from $0 if you have 4 mattresses on hand, all the way up to $500 if you need to go out and buy a bunch of used mattresses. Kind of depends on what you have. The next vocal booth that you can have at home is the reflection filter. You've probably seen these in your local music shops around your town. They're those big strips of foam that you see behind the microphones. Now these are very popular because they're really cheap. They only run about $50 to $150, and they're really accessible. I mean, you can take them up and take them down in a matter of 10, 20 seconds. Really, really easy to store, really, really easy to put on and take off. The issue with them is that they're not really getting the most important place when you're trying to make your vocals dry. The most important place is behind the singer and also above the singer. But what the reflection filter is getting is behind the microphone. Now, that does help. It's not just doing nothing, but behind the microphone is where the null point of the microphone is, meaning that's the part of the microphone that picks up the least amount of signal. So out of all the places it could be covering, that's probably helping the least. It is helping, just probably helping the least. So what I would actually recommend doing, if you really want to get one of those, or if you already have one, is make a vocal booth and then add that to add some extra absorption. Like if you're doing the mattress vocal booth thing, then I would have that so you have something behind the microphone and you have something behind and above the singer. So the final vocal booth that you can have in your home is the blanket booth. And it's my personal favorite. It's the one that I use in my own studio. Now the blanket booth is basically a fort that you make out of PVC pipe and then drape with acoustic blankets. And acoustic blankets are these special types of blankets that you can get online, and they soak up even more frequency than your regular comforter or duvet could ever soak up. It's really, really cool because it surrounds you on all sides and above you. So you're almost like cut off from the world in your own little cave of vocals. So let's cover how to make a blanket booth right now. So before we get started, make sure you download the free blueprints and the size calculator from the description below. That's going to be important because the size calculator is going to tell you exactly how long each PVC pipe needs to be. And if you want a really big vocal booth or a really small vocal booth, that's going to change the sizes of your pipes. Now the cool thing about it, you can type in whatever specifications you want. If you need a really small one, you can type in small specs. It'll spit out the right ones. If you need a really big one, you can type in a really big width, a really big height. It'll spit out the right specifications just for you. But you need to make sure you do that so that you can go and actually get the heights and the lengths and the widths of this entire thing. So what you're going to need 14 T-joints. You're going to need 8 U-joints. You are going to need a lot of PVC pipe, obviously, and all of the PVC pipe is going to be 1 inch wide. You are going to need 4 clamps, 2-inch clamps. That's going to keep the roof on top. You're going to need 24 shower hangers, like those little hoops. Those are basically going to help you to keep the acoustical blankets actually on this PVC fort that you're making. You'll probably need a junior hacksaw. Basically what that does, it just allows you to cut through the PVC pipe. If you make a mistake, someone makes a mistake, that's gonna be how you fix it. You can actually get this cut at your local hardware store, most likely. If you go to like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, they'll cut all of this for you. I didn't do that because I wanted mine to be much more custom. That's why I have the saw, but it's very, very possible. Finally, you are going to need your 4 acoustic blankets. I got mine from vocalbooth2go.com. They work really, really well. I'll make sure to link to them in the description below so that you can go and get your own if you want to. This whole design is only going to cost between $200 and $250. It's very affordable. It's a fourth of the price of everything else that you're going to be buying, and I really like it. So let me show you how to make it. Okay, so you can see at the bottom is now all done. Let's do the top half. We have our frame put together. It's nice and simple. One thing I would recommend, label each one of your pipes. It will make your life a lot easier. It really, really will. Whenever you put your thing back together again, it will take about an hour less time if you just can reach for a pipe, see it says top, and put it on the top. Let's put the acoustic blankets on. All right, we're ready. Let's go take a look. Okay, we are inside of the booth now. Now I'm shutting us off. You can really hear exactly how quiet it is in here. Now it doesn't necessarily cut off all sounds, like you can still hear the traffic passing, you can still hear birds that are chirping if that's happening. It's not necessarily a soundproof booth as much as it is just absorbing the sound around you. It sounds a lot better, a lot more dead in here. So I'm not much of a singer myself, but I am going to get my friend Palmer Lee to come and give you guys a demo to see what it sounds like. Check it out.
Little black dresses, yeah, they sure love this town. Bright cherry lipstick, can't quit, yeah, they'll spin you around. Up on their bar stools, looking down at their phones, sipping a clear drink, they'll need someone to take them home. Little black dresses, yeah, they sure love this town. Bright cherry lipstick, can't quit, yeah, they'll spin you around. Up on their bar stools, looking down at their phones, sipping a clear drink, they'll need someone to take them home.
So you can see what I'm talking about. In the first example, her vocals are dry and clear, but in the second one, there's a full room reverb surrounding it that you can hear in the background. And the interesting thing is that actually makes it sound better by itself. But whenever you put it in the context of a mix, having that room reverb is gonna make it sound much, much worse, because you're never gonna be able to get rid of it. And the more you compress that vocal, the louder it's gonna get, pushing it farther and farther back in the mix. So you wanna make sure that you are getting some kind of vocal booth, some kind of absorption, so that you can get your vocals sounding dry and clear. I'm gonna head out here, but before I go, make sure you're getting the blueprints and the size calculator down in the description below. I promise you it'll make a world of difference while you're making your own vocal booth. It really will. With musicianonamission.com, I'm Dylan. I'll see you next time.